And I give you my soul, and I give you my pain, and I give you my joy. Do with it what you will, 'cause I'm here right now for you and for me, just to breathe, just to be.
Hey,
We're back.
Bubba's literally back. He's wandering around the studio.
Yeah, just barely made it back in time. You're back on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff.
You have no excuses not to follow us.
No, not at all, not at all.
It's for your betterment as well. Like, literally, it'll make you a better person. It'll make you think. It'll make you laugh. I don't know, if you're a freaky motherfucker, it might make you come too.
Depending on the show. Depending on the guest. We got one coming next week. He's you know, I was thinking of like 5 or 6 words, all of them with pause moments. Like I was going to say, he's a full load. So, you know, you got to watch what you say these days, man.
You've been, I don't know. You've had a lot of pause-worthy moments lately. What lane are you in?
I'll explain later, because what we're going to be talking about today is a lot of this good stuff, man. Megan Thee Stallion is in the news for something other than twerking. She has some things with her former cameraman. We have NBA playoffs. We're dead smack in the middle of the NBA playoffs. We have some Caitlin Clark news. You know, whatever you think of her in this decision she's made. NFL draft.
When can we escape her?
NFL draft is here. It's among us. We'll talk about that, get into that as well. All right, so we got a good show for you guys today, and a lot of other stuff too. Some interesting news with this baseball player getting tricked by this girl, and a lot of other stuff.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, man.
You know, most baseball players don't go to college.
I did not know that.
I don't know if there's a correlation.
That's not true.
They don't.
They don't?
No, like the better ones go straight from high school
Venezuela?
The overseas players for sure. The Dominican Republic, I don't know. Venezuela's got a lot of political unrest. It might not be the ideal environment for developing as a baseball player.
So usually, I start the show every time. I start the show off with something I've been thinking about. A lot of times it's introspective or sad or happy, whatever the case may be, whatever I've been thinking about.
When do you do all this thinking?
Yeah, just during the week, earlier in the day.
Like, are you like a wake up and meditate with your thoughts type of guy?
You know what's funny? I saw a meme, and it was like, it said, "I live alone, so the last 3 hours I've just been staring at the wall with my thoughts." And it's funny because I live alone, so when I live with no company over, I'm thinking. I think a lot.
Dude, okay.
I have time to just think and.
Well, I was asking
a
legitimate question.
No, I know.
I actually do a lot of my thinking on the toilet.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, you're kind of pushing out a deuce.
Yeah. I think a lot in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm usually hooping, so I'm usually thinking about how shitty my teammates are.
Well, this week was very easy. It's the NBA playoffs. I'm disgusted. I'm pissed. I'm mad. I'm flabbergasted. They're causing me to drink out of the bottle, and it's just a nasty fucking place to be in. And I'm a diehard 76ers fan. I haven't posted anything about it. I can't go anywhere to watch the games because they will kick me out. It's a very frustrating time, and we're getting our ass handed to us by the Knicks. And then you have the NBA coming out with their bullshit 2-minute review. Oh, yeah, we screwed the 76ers. We should have called 4 fouls in the last 30 seconds. And, yeah, we saw Nick Nurse trying to call timeout. They didn't give it to him. We apologize for that. Well, just keep that shit to yourself. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, why no need to tell us. And then on top of that, I'm watching all these other games. Last night the Timberwolves beat the Suns. And you have, Anthony Edwards had one of the worst games he's had in an incredibly long time.
The only time he played worse was I went to watch him here in Orlando.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns, he's averaging a foul every 2 seconds in that game. And they win the game because they have Jaden McDaniels, Kevin Durant Jr. You have Rudy Gobert, the best player on the court for both teams. And here we have a guy who's making $40 million a year, and he can't score more than 10 points and grab more than 8 or 9 rebounds in a game. I just want to just meet him in person and just really explain to him with my hands and my feet with how I feel about him. And Tobias Harris is really screwing us because, see, what's going to happen is when the series goes on and we lose or whatever, or the next round, or it's inevitable, the story will be, oh, Embiid can't stay healthy. And they need to trade him, or we need to move off of him because he's never healthy in the playoffs. Embiid is playing fine. He's not, whatever, Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s, but he's playing fine. 29 here, 28 here, 12 rebounds here, 10 rebounds here. He's playing fine. Tyrese Maxey is playing fine. Matter of fact, he was sick. He's sick, giving us 30. Embiid is on one leg, giving us whatever, 29 and 12. Everything he has, he's giving it to us. And there's not another soul on this team that's giving us anything that we can fucking utilize. And it's so sick to see all these other teams, with their second, third, fourth, fifth stars or players on the team, giving contributions to a win. And it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Thank God that this is Tobias Harris. Last year, I'm watching a show. I kind of mentioned it two weeks ago. It's called The Chosen. Basically, it's the following Jesus' life from when he was a child till he was an adult, and he's teaching his disciples how to pray. And so I work from home, so I pause the TV and I take the time and I pray and I thank God that this is Tobias' last year, and I make sure I'm following the way that Jesus told me to do it on the show to make sure, because it's been a long 4 or 5 years. It's been an incredibly long time, and I just thank God that this is the last year that he's on this team, because I can't take it anymore, man. I can't take it. I can't take it.
I didn't even comment when when that game unfolded there, the game 2 with the.
It was brutal.
It was. I felt bad for you. It was among my first thoughts. I turned to my daughter. I'm like, Bubba's got to be taking this tough.
Yeah. I mean, calls and refs aside, 5 points, 30 seconds. You have to win that game. You have to bring that home.
Yeah.
You just have to. And that sucks.
No excuses.
No excuses. But to some other teams that may have some excuses, I don't want to belabor the point on the 76ers there. No need to spend an hour on those losers. We'll spend the next hour on some other losers. And Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, they're battling the Timberwolves. And, I wanted to take this. We've talked about Kevin Durant in the past. We've talked about him. Kobe says bringing back James Harden. Yeah. Imagine that. And we talked about Kevin Durant in the past and his legacy. And, and I think the last time we really talked about his legacy was when Boston kind of took care of those guys when he was in Brooklyn with Kyrie.
The first round sweep?
Yeah, the first round sweep. And, and they really, KD and Kyrie were fully healthy. That team was fully healthy. There was no excuses. And they got, they got swept by a young Boston team at that time. And now we're looking at it and kind of headed toward the same path. You have a young Minnesota team looking to sweep a fully healthy Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, in this squad. What are some of the things that you're seeing out there as you're watching this series?
It's what we've seen from Phoenix for 2 years. This is not a team that likes each other. This is not a team that collectively cares, and they play that way. They're not without talent, but there's no cohesiveness. There's no character to the way they play basketball. They are an easy pickings for a team to beat. And this is, to me, and it always has been obvious, the shortfall of Kevin Durant. He is not a leader. He's a hooper, and there's a difference. And if he kind of goes out there and does his thing, he's happy with that. He's satisfied. He doesn't crave more. And that's, to me, that's his legacy. He'll be remembered as a great hooper, a great offensive weapon, but not a true winner. Not a guy that was able to do, just really like it's leading and it's playing like a warrior. And I don't mean that literally, but it's like, it's when you watch, I mean, he gets his points, but do you feel like he gives a shit about the outcome when you're watching it?
Not as I'm watching, but I do think he cares. You know what? I think history is going to remember Kevin Durant being a much better player than Carmelo Anthony, but they're the same guy. They're the same guy. You put Carmelo Anthony on those Golden State Warriors teams, they're coming away with the championship just like they did with Kevin Durant. There's no difference. And he's an elite scorer. They both are elite scorers, and that's all they have to contribute to the game. I guess in patches during his prime, you could say Kevin Durant was a solid, rim protector as far as a helper at the rim. I wouldn't say rim protector. I would say a helper at the rim.
Well, his best years of doing that were also the Warrior years. And when again, think about it, his offensive burden was lighter because they did have so many other things going on, and he was able to kind of diversify his game. And the idiocy of Kevin Durant, and that's no hesitation, that's what it is. He should have never left there.
Yeah.
That was an ideal place to be the best version of himself, and he walked away from that to go into basically two failed situations.
Yes, we're going to look back and say that's the worst move. It's one of the worst moves of all time as an individual player making their mark and deciding where they want to go in this, player empowerment era, whatever you want to call it. Just god awful, and he's bearing the fruit of it now. And then you have a Devin Booker who, it was just a year or two ago, everyone was calling the second coming of Kobe Bryant. And he just hasn't lived up to that at all. I just think he's a carbon copy. He's an elite scorer, and he doesn't bring anything else to the game as far as leadership. He's not a two-way player, whatever. And, God help Bradley Beal,
God helped him to a couple of good contracts.
The best contract in sports for him, for a player. But he's just not a superstar. They're in trouble, man. They're in trouble because they're locked into these guys. They don't have a point guard on this team. There's not a lot of ways you can fix this team, and it's just, Kevin Durant has maybe a couple years left at this elite play.
Right. Yeah.
Do you look to leave if you're him, or do you stick this out and try to make it work?
The question is, and we kind of dealt with Steph Curry last week on this, is, what is the market for these aging Hall of Famers? Like, what can they do? What's the environment in which they can do that best? And it's a problematic question. For the most part, these aging Hall of Fame guys become one-dimensional specialists. And as you age, you lose mobility, you lose flexibility, you lose energy. And all that is like, that all impacts two-way play the most. And what you see, like the guys that survive best, survive individually by focusing on very specific but impactful things they could do in a game.
Yeah.
And they do those things exclusively. But for that to work at a championship level, you've got to have a roster that accommodates that superstar's deficiencies. And LeBron suffers from it. KD suffers from it. Steph's in that place. Michael Jordan in the last years became a low block specialist. And that was like the majority of his points. He wasn't doing all the shit he did in the early phase of his career. And I'm talking about 96 to 98, not the Wizards years. And, he had locked in offensively and knew exactly what he could do and was hyper efficient in doing that. But he had to pick his spots in the other aspects of the game.
Yeah.
But they had Pippen, they had Rodman, they had other pieces that were basically put together around that. And, pairing aging Kevin Durant with a one-dimensional specialty with two other offensive specialists is not the answer.
Well, and that's the thing about fans, right? Because people want to see, oh, LeBron should go to Golden State and then Durant should go. You don't want to put 2, 3, 4 aging guys on the same team. Like that's not helping you. You know, yeah, I would have loved to see LeBron and Curry, whatever, 10 years ago. But you know, it's not going to look the same right now.
Yeah,
it's just not. It's not. You're not going to be able to compete for a championship just because you put those two guys together. Same thing with Durant. Durant, I do believe, when Durant made the decision, and I know he was technically traded to the Suns or whatever, but he had a heavy hand in that into moving over there, and there was an opportunity to go to Golden State, and he wanted no parts of that. I thought that was a mistake the second time around. Yeah. I think you should have embraced that, went back, but whatever. But again, I know it's Devin Booker over there, but I think you should have went back to Golden State. But now I think that bridge is done. Even though Golden State still has a need at that particular position and can use someone of his skill set, I still think that boat has passed to where they could compete for a
Golden State, their time is passed as a team.
Anyway.
And Kevin Durant's not going to paper that over.
I don't think he can.
No, he can't. Yeah. I'm telling you he can't. Because he has the same issues that all those aging guys do.
Yeah.
That is not the answer. It just is not a functional way to do this. Yeah. And people got to get away from this. I mean, we've seen this fail so many times. We saw the Karl Malone and Gary Payton to the Kobe Shaq Lakers.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Karl Malone got hurt down the stretch, wasn't available. They lose the final. You saw the Kobe, Steve Nash, Dwight Howard group. Dudes past their prime. It does not work.
What about the Cavs group with the old D Wade, Isaiah Thomas thing?
Oh, that was fucking doesn't even count. That was like the corpse of Dwayne Wade and injured Isaiah Thomas. I wouldn't even put it in that category. But you cannot stack together. Yeah, I mean, we play fantasy football. Like, every year somebody will draft a roster that was great 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's not a great roster anymore.
Yeah.
And that's how quickly this stuff changes.
It does, man.
You know, and I mean, and again, you see the thing today that if the Denver Lakers series goes the way it's going, and the T-Wolves Suns will have the first time in forever that you don't have even conference semifinals involving Steph, LeBron, or KD. But guess what, people? It's okay.
Yeah.
Because we have Anthony Edwards, because we have other guys that are stepping up and playing at a high level and are worth watching.
And still making the game exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's
just in different ways.
Exactly. And Wemby's on the way. It's okay to let go of the past.
Yeah.
It's okay. And for the individual guy, yeah, it's a little awkward. It's tough to deal with your own sort of basketball mortality. It's probably tough to be in a situation where you're just not in a winning situation. And again, we're not talking about a team that's winning 30 games. I mean, they won 40, 50 games, but they're just not built to win in the playoffs, and they're not going to contend for a title. And for me, as a player, individually, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
If I'm KD, if I'm Steph, if I'm LeBron, I am pushing to get to a situation that that is going to involve contending for a title.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be the addition piece. I don't want a team to have to rebuild around me with other old guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. Okay, moving past the Suns and Timberwolves, what's the biggest surprise to you so far in this NBA playoffs?
Nothing.
When you look at all the series,
Nothing
is a surprise so far.
No.
I don't. The Orlando Magic being down 0-2 right now is a huge shocker to me. To the Cavs being down 0-2, and they were like controlled wins. It wasn't like lucky or calls or this. They were ass of whoopings, like controlling the games for 2 games in a row.
I want to say 2 things. Like, first of all, I'm not a guy that goes into these series and like expects like certain things to happen.
You don't?
No. I watch the series and I'm looking, okay, which way is this going to go? I don't go in and I take no pride in listing the various playoff series and predicting the winner. That's not what I do. I don't give a shit. There are people that go on social media and it's like, I got the Denver, I got the Suns, I got whatever.
Yeah, I don't do that
And
either.
I don't give a damn. I mean, let the series be the series. And I do think the Magic have been disappointing. They've been exposed to me because they can't score cleanly and efficiently.
Yeah.
But that was something that I went to see them live twice. And I felt that when I was in the arena. And one game they won and one game they lost. But that inherent problem of being able to score cleanly and efficiently was there. And to me, the centerpiece of that problem is the centerpiece of the team, Paulo Banchero. He is not an efficient offensive player. He has an ugly offensive game. He does not play in the rhythm and pace of the game. He plays at his own rhythm and pace. When he receives the basketball, he almost always has to catch it and settle himself before he can play. He struggles to catch and shoot in rhythm. He struggles to catch and put the ball on the deck in rhythm. He catches, he settles, and then he'll shoot out of rhythm, or he'll go into his kind of like big man back down stuff. And more often than not, those big man back downs settle for mid-range contested shots. He is just flat out not an efficient player. And when you're in the playoffs, it's tough to do that. I almost feel a little bit like the issues that Julius Randle has in the playoffs. Because, again, he's not a clean, efficient player. And when the defenses are tighter, when the game plan is more specific and focused, you're going to get exposed in those situations. And they don't have a great shooting team around him. And Wagner, I like him better offensively just from an efficiency aesthetic play, but he's not at this point ready to dominate. But don't overreact. Cleveland won 2 home games. It could be a lot different here.
Yeah, but it's not. Like the Magic should win a game,
right?
In Orlando, but that's not going to swing the series. I've seen enough. Sometimes I can watch a series after at least 2 games. You've seen enough to know what's going to happen. Like because, for better or for worse, yeah, I know Philly's my team and whatever, but those games were so close, and there were just determining factors. Now, where you can be wrong is the last year Lakers and Denver was every game was very close, but Lakers just never ended up winning one. They ended up getting swept. And the same thing could ultimately happen this year. So just because games are close doesn't mean anything. But when mistakes are made or when you can legitimately lean on the refs or whatever, a series can be extended. I don't believe this Orlando-Cleveland series will be extended. But that is the biggest shocker.
What are we saying by extended?
It's like 7 games. Yeah. I think Cleveland is going to wrap this up in 5 or 6 games.
I mean, if I'm betting money, I tend to agree with you. But I am a big believer in that playoff series can change. They can't change with close losses, but they can change with wins.
Yeah.
Because wins change the dynamic. If the Magic find a way to win 2 games,
pressure is on Cleveland.
Yeah,
and
I'm a big believer in playoff pressure.
Yeah.
In that dynamic. Again, if you're losing close games, you're still losing them. But when you win games, it does change the course of a series. Mm-hmm. It changes the leverage of pressure, for or against another team. And I am a believer in that. So that's why I say, just don't jump to conclusions. Magic have been really bad, and it doesn't look good. But let's see how they respond in Orlando, and then if they do respond, what does Cleveland do? Because that's the thing.
Yeah,
Cleveland's a team with no playoff pedigree.
No,
they haven't had any success. They're a team that if things go against them,
they had a disappointment last year in the first round.
Exactly.
When they were the more talented team over the Knicks.
The Knicks, yes.
And they lost.
And that's my point. If the pressure gets put on them, we don't have any track record to say they're going to respond.
No, not at all. Not at all. What are you thinking about these Lakers, man? They had the game in game 2. They had the game in game 2, though. They had it.
They did. I mean, they've actually played well, but unfortunately, we're 6 playoff games deep into the same scenario, that they linger in a game against Denver and they don't win them.
Yeah, I think this is what I want to say. 12 consecutive losses to Denver. It's something crazy
collectively, but we're 6 playoff losses, and the 6 playoff losses have been eerily similar in the way the games have played out. At some point in the game, the Lakers play well, have a lead, and it just gets away from them. And when we get to the end of the game, Denver has more options. They're more talented, they're more diversified, and they make the plays to win.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. That's for sure. But one thing I will say though, and ask anyway, is what is it going to take to even beat these Nuggets?
An injury would help. No, I say that not flippantly because, again, they have a beautifully balanced team. But if one of those balanced pieces is lost, it changes.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're not the same, and you gotta adapt to that. And so, if any of their significant guys miss a stretch of time or unavailable during these playoffs, that makes them exceptionally vulnerable. They are the defending champions for a reason. I think if everybody's healthy and all teams are moving forward, they deserve to be the favorite in each series, and that presumptive is they'll be the returning champion. But, these things can get complicated. I still like the Celtics. I'm not saying the Celtics are definitely going to beat them, but I like the Celtics having a chance there. I don't know what Western team really would be funky for them. That I'm not sure of.
I'm not sure of it either. Because every team just has questions. You can't. Like the game Minnesota played last night against Phoenix, Denver's taken that 1,000 out of 1,000 times. There's no scenario where Denver Nuggets would lose that game, which makes it even worse for the Suns.
Right.
And for better for worse, we love Anthony, we love Edwards, we love not so much Cat, but those guys will have those games.
Yeah.
Ant because of his style of play. And Karl Anthony Towns, because of the level of player he is, they're going to have those type of games. Cat maybe a little more than Ant for sure.
Well, I mean, Aaron Edwards is my favorite player in the NBA right now. But to be honest, like he has a couple too many poor games.
Yeah.
Like you can't have games at that level with any regularity. When you're talking about being a face of the league, MVP in 2 years, or even arguably a champion. Like the floor on your performance has to be higher than what he has given us or shown us in some of these situations.
Yeah. So we'll see about that. Now we have some other series that are the Pacers were able to tie it up against the Bucks.
And that was significant. The Bucks are the higher seed.
Yeah.
Indiana does what you're supposed to do to win. They get one on the road. They feel confident. And they're going with the idea of, hey, like this was a tame crowd in Milwaukee. It's going to be batshit crazy when we get to Indiana, and we don't know if Giannis is going to participate.
We don't. It's still quiet on the news.
Very quiet.
Like
very quiet.
I don't know, if that's good or bad.
I think it's bad. I mean, like if there's a real feeling that he's day to day, may play game 3, might play game 4, I think we're hearing more about that. But the fact that it's just eerily silent, to me suggests he's probably not foreseeably ready in this series, in a 4 or 5 game window. Maybe if it gets to 6 or 7, that's basically be another week maybe or so.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a chance, but there's not a lot of optimism because there's not a lot of chatter about it.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, here. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Really quick here, of course, I heard earlier Reggie Bush giving his Heisman back. It was such a weird thing to do in the beginning anyway.
To take it away?
Yeah, just to take it away. It's like we saw him win the Heisman.
Yeah, that's always been a pet peeve of mine. Like we saw the guy perform. He was a deserving Heisman winner. So what if some off-field stuff transpired? You can't take away an award that was earned on the field, which is where all these things should be earned. So I'm glad they're doing it. It was only a couple weeks ago Johnny Manziel said he was going to step away from the, dealing with the Heisman people until this was done, which was a solid move on his part.
Shout out to Johnny.
And I think that it's pretty cool that Reggie Bush gets this back. He was really happy.
Yeah.
Which I always wonder, like, I'm more of a mentality. If you're going to fuck me over, fuck you too. and we don't ever have to deal with each other. I'll be happy to see your obituary. But, you know, it made him happy, and so that's really cool. I'm glad it happened.
It is, and you know, and part of the thing is, I think a part of it is he's in the sports media. You know, he's an analyst. He covers games. He's always around college football. So I'm sure, you know, it's a part of the story. But man, he was so crazy at USC. I mean, I saw some stats today that I guess I forgot about, but definitely speaks to the impact. I mean, he averaged over 8 yards a carry that last year. I mean, that's definitely a first down every time he touched the ball.
Right.
1,700 yards. Just crazy, man. A dynamic athlete, man.
He's in that pantheon of the most entertaining players I've seen in college football.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's up there. And, you know, and I do think this is another thing that should be noted. Like, he genuinely seems like a good person.
Yeah.
Like, nobody says bad stuff about Reggie Bush.
Never heard it.
You know, he had an NFL career that was okay. I mean, it didn't match what we thought we saw in the college, but I think he handled himself, you know, in that career in a great way. He's, like you said, he's transitioned into the media, and it's good to see when good people are rewarded.
Yeah. And
I'm happy for him. And you know what they got to do is, somebody brought this up on the FSU stuff. They got to get Jameson that damn Heisman House commercial. You're telling me
you got to get Jameson anything, but
that's what I'm saying. You're telling me that won't. He's not capable of making an epic commercial. I mean, this is Jameis.
I don't think I've seen him in anything related to.
No. Where that was coming from is he's kind of like a little bit blackballed from that stuff.
Okay.
That part of it, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know
because
of maybe some of the nonsense around, you know, when he was at Florida State, there was some issues. But again, he's another guy that, is he funny as hell? Yes. Is he, you know, kind of off the beaten path? Absolutely. But there again, nobody can say Jameis is a bad dude.
I haven't heard.
Like, I mean, like teammates love him.
Yeah, after even after what he did last season, that caused all of his teammates were like, you know, it was taking his back or whatever, had his back. It was just old players that are out of the league didn't like it or whatever, but his teammates had his back.
Old people need to shut the fuck up, man. Just be happy you didn't die during COVID, because I'm not. Wish they took your asses.
Oh, man.
Shallow graves for all you fuckers. But yeah, get off Jameis's ass, man. Get him in the Heisman House.
Yeah.
Bring him back with Reggie Bush. That'd be fun.
That'd be fun. That'd be next.
I mean, I've had enough of fucking Tim Tebow. Don't tell me you like Tim Tebow in commercials.
I like seeing him, man. I like
Why?
seeing him. Huh?
Why?
Just gives me good. That's the only good memories I have. I don't have any other good memories of Florida Gator football. So anytime I see him on football, anytime I see him on TV, it reminds me of the glory days, the good old days.
We have YouTube.
Like Trump guys.
We have YouTube. You can don't mention that. No, you could watch YouTube highlights of Tim Tebow.
I do.
We don't need to see him in the Heisman House. He's not very entertaining there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man. I'll tell you who has been entertaining for some. This Caitlin Clark character. And more news has been released on the Big Three. We talked about it when it first came out. And we said that Ice Cube offered her $5 million, and she'll be, you know, crazy not to take it. She can go there for half a season. It works with the WNBA. You can still play. You're not giving up on it. Well, as you say, the league co-founder says the offer was actually worth $15 million, because not only was it a salary, but they were giving her stocks and stake in the company and the league, which is nuts. You know, you didn't even offer that to Kobe when you're trying to get him to play in it. You know, I think they offered Kobe like whatever, but you know, it was like the first year of it, second year of it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, to turn down $15 million, that's nuts. Now you're in just to stay true and stay whatever to the WNBA and trying to make this work. Come on, man. At some point, it has to be.
But she's getting $28 million from Nike.
So does the NBA players. Like, they're getting big money from the shoe companies as well. On top of the whatever $15 million they're getting from their salaries.
I don't think that the Big Three would have gone as well as you would have thought. I think she protected herself by not putting herself in that
It's
position.
not about whether it goes well or not, whether she
It
goes
is.
in and averages 0.3 points a game or whatever the case may be. You go there, you get the money, you expand your brand, and do all that good stuff, and then you come right back to regular scheduled programming.
But if you do not perform,
it doesn't
you're
matter.
damaging the brand.
No, you're not.
You are.
You're playing against old fat men. Like who
And
cares
if you
performs
don't play
or not?
well, it looks that much worse.
No, because they're gonna be probably trying to knock her all over the place.
Exactly.
And you know what? And there's gonna be guys who don't take it serious and let her score, let her shoot. Like you know that. There's always guys when there's a girl on the court. Like if it's a girl on the court at LA Fitness, I can't guard her seriously. I hate if a girl comes like to me.
Right.
Because I don't know, like this is a girl with this big booty. She comes to the Lake Mary East Porter, and I'm the old guy, and if the matchups are looking crazy, she'll come over to me, and it's like, I mean, come on, man, I gotta box her out, and she's putting her booty all, what am I supposed to do?
Something might pop up.
What am I supposed to do here? I'm not going to take this seriously.
Yeah.
And some of the guys, they're not going to do it. And then some guys are, going to try to knock her around.
Right, which I really think it would have been a bad visual product for the reasons you're saying. Some people would have taken it serious. She would have got knocked around a little bit. I don't think she would have been in a situation to play particularly well. And then if guys aren't taking serious, that would be kind of obvious as well. I don't think it was a winning play for her to be involved in that. I really don't.
This is on brand for you because you're not a part of the Get the Bag crew.
Yeah, you're correct.
And typically I'm not either, but sometimes I am. And in this case, I am. But you're not in the Get the Bag crew. And
no,
that's
I'm not.
understandable.
I'm not. I'm the Jude Bellingham not playing for money.
Playing for the love of the game.
Love of the game, for legacy.
Yeah.
To win championships. That's what I'm here for. I mean, you get at the end of the day, like, shove the money up your ass. Like, at the end.
But you get steak and you get stuff. It's not just money. You're getting real stocks and bonds, whatever you people call it.
Yeah, but if that league goes under, guess what the value of those shares are? Zero.
Which is
and again, I mean, that's the
possibility.
thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's growing in any great degree.
I wouldn't think so.
I think it's got much like WNBA basketball, it's got a small niche, and it's existing in that space. And if she goes in there and it looks bad for her, the league's gonna crumble like a house of cards.
What's up, Nikki? What's up, Kobe? Kobe said it always takes a white person to speak on our behalf. That's why we got pink.
Hey, happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I hope I can help the team.
But yeah. Well, we disagree here, but I tell you what, we'll see what she does in this WNBA, and if she can turn things around for them, I think we're kind of on the same page.
Well, technically, I won't actually see it. Might hear about it.
No, that's it. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Got to stay on brand there.
Let's see here. You know what? I didn't make it on here. Man, why didn't I make it on there?
Old age.
Yeah, probably so. And I don't want to go through. Oh, yes, I can. I see. Shout out to Ant, man.
We're exploring some new technology here in the show.
Yeah. Where is it at? Okay, but I see it here, so that's fine. So, want to give a quick shout out to Royal13thebrand.com. Again, that is Royal13thebrand.com. Use promo code BubbaPink, and you'll be fresh here heading into the summer. I just wore my rose pants again, my rose shorts again.
I saw it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Got some more compliments on that.
Yeah, no skid marks.
So you guys make sure you go check it out and use that promo code, man, to be cheap and fresh, or to be fresh at a cheap cost. That's better.
Yeah.
Editor, take the last part out, please. All right. Where are we gonna go from here? We got some stuff to talk about here, man. Let's talk about some crazy stuff. Or see if it is crazy. All right. First, we got Megan Thee Stallion here, and we have a claim from her former cameraman that she forced him to watch her have sex in the back of a car. He says that, the car was rolling, so he couldn't get out, he couldn't stop, whatever. And she forced him to sit there and watch, have sex with another girl, another woman. I think that's important to add there.
Why is that so important to add?
I can see some guys being uncomfortable if you're watching a random guy drill your boss in the back seat of a car, and you're stuck in that car. I think I could see some of that being uncomfortable.
I'm saying
so that's
he wouldn't have. It shouldn't have much issue watching two girls.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. So that's why I said I think it's important to say that it was two girls and not a guy back there drilling Megan. And also, but it was other claims as well. That's just the main one. But he's saying that she called him fat a lot of times, told him that he needed to stop eating, and just verbal abuse, and all of that as well.
This is reminiscent of the Lizzo story a few months back.
It is. Yeah. It is. And my take on this, first of all, a lot of these stars, that's how they are. Or they become this once they get the money, man. I mean, they talk shit. They're on top of the world. They can talk to you any kind of way. That's how they feel. Yeah, you fat piece of shit. Pick up the camera and shoot me eating this girl's coochie. What else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? Are you going to go film the On the Bench podcast for $20 a week? What else are you planning to do here?
Stop devaluing us.
Yeah, we pay $50.
I don't know what type of person you are that has a problem watching other people have sex. I think it's great. I'd love to watch it. I hate Meg Thee Stallion. Yeah. I just think she's an absolutely useless celebrity. But I'll watch her have sex with a girl. I'll be entertained. Probably the most entertaining thing she could possibly do in her career. Her music is trash. Her fucking lifestyle's trash. But yeah, no, I'll definitely, why are we complaining about that? But no, I think you make a great point though. Is with a similar story coming out of Lizzo's camp, it's to what extent does the money, the fame, the accolades, and basically employing a number of people, to do essentially personal functions for you, does that become an intoxicating and distorting thing that you begin to, on some level, kind of, mistreat or take these people for granted? I think that's a little bit of the pattern we see. There's a certain intoxication with power and celebrity and status that I think is infusing, these behaviors to a degree.
Yeah, first of all, I don't see how he can win this case because first of all, it's he say she say. Because I didn't read in the story where he actually had, where he actually filmed this and have film of it or whatever. But and also it's messed up.
I will hesitate to say this though. If we want to kind of take all of what he's characterizing as abuse, let's not lose sight of the fact that this is a cameraman. He probably has some of this stuff recorded in some form or another.
No, that's true.
Otherwise, he should be fired for incompetence as a cameraman. If he doesn't have some recordings of her saying something about him being fat or you need to stop doing this somewhere.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. He deserves what he gets.
Yeah. And there was this character on the Martin show, Angry Man, and his one line was always, "Man, sit your ass down." And you're right. The cameraman, he doesn't have any visual proof. Man, sit your ass down. That's what the judge should tell him if he doesn't have any visual proof. You're right. He very well can and probably should.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
that's a good point to bring up.
But honestly, does it rise to the level of what are we trying to do?
No, just
here?
quit, man.
Yeah.
You quit and you go and
it's
find
just not
out.
For me.
Yeah. See if Cardi B or the twerking girls in Miami have a camera need. Whatever. But other than that, I don't think this should have been his leading complaint. I was forced to watch two girls having sex in the back of a car. That's I wouldn't lead with that. I think in this world today, fat shaming is probably more frowned upon than lesbian sex. So you gotta read the room.
Specifically being forced to watch.
you gotta read the room and pick which. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very disappointing from this guy.
I think the jurors have more sympathy if you say you fat piece of shit, because there's gonna be some big ones over there.
Could be, yeah. They might have walked in those shoes.
You know. All right.
Hey, my boss said that to me the other day.
I hate her ass too. So yeah, let's give this man some money. All right. Now, so yeah, I think this cameraman is crazy unless he has visual proof.
And even if he does, it's kind of like, what rises to the level that this should actually be actionable? That's not just because again, you got to look at it like, okay, did somebody say or do something that's just not cool? Like probably, but does that rise to the level where you should be awarded money or like, where are we going with this? Yeah. We've got to be able to take a certain level of insult to our person without crumbling.
And then if this is just a ploy to take Megan down, which I'm all for, you got to come with something stronger, okay? Don't just give me this. Like there's, we all know there's this thing where everybody wants Drake out of here, and if you're on that side, that's fair to be on that side. But if you're Ross, you got to come with something more than you got a fake nose job. Like, you got to come with something heavier. Like, come with some R. Kelly stuff. Come with some, you got to catch Drake in action to get him out of here. Yeah. I need something better than a fake nose job and being forced to watch two women have sex in the backseat of a car. You got to come with something better than that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, on to somebody else that may or may not be crazy here. I actually had a point here to make on this as well. Benzino, a former rapper I've never heard a song from, but I know he had a lot of motion back in the day. He's speaking on rumors that Meek Mill allegedly had sex with Diddy. And he says that real street guys can be gay. And that sparked a big, huge debate online. And a lot of people...
Well, time out.
Go ahead.
How does that not just would you know from experience to Benzino?
Like personal experience?
Yeah. You're a street guy, right? You tell us that. You like gay sex too? Like that, you can't say that comment without drawing that response.
The interviewer.
I don't think he's deep throating anybody with that neck. Micro penis only. Just ahead.
But I'm gonna tell you something, man. I do agree with him though. I do agree with him that real street guys can be gay. There are some that are gay. First of all, the easy answer is in prison, right? Some of those guys are real street guys, man, and maybe some of those guys are in there for the long ride, and
literally,
and I guess things happen. I'm not in there for the long ride, so who am I to judge? I don't know, And then secondly, I grew up with a guy in my neighborhood, Winter Park, Edenville, all right, and a lot of those people watch, so I just say Sean. That is a part of his name. It's Sean. It's not his entire name, but we'll say Sean. Sean was gay, but Sean was not like inside gay. Sean was outside gay. Sean was, he was the back in the 90s and early 2000s where, it was like before cross-dressing really hit, but the person was gay from the movements to how they talked, they changed the voice, he was switching when he walked, all that.
Like a lot of effeminate mannerisms.
Yeah, but let me tell you something about Sean. First of all, Sean was one of the fastest guys in the neighborhood. You needed to be like, a guy we call Gold, or you need to be Tanner. You need to be one of the Winter Park Wildcats, former running backs. You know what I'm saying? You need to be one of those guys to beat Sean in the race. And then secondly, you fuck around now. You think it's sweet, and you want to run up on Sean. You'll get your hands put on you, and you get whooped by Sean, and you take things lightly, and then. If you was a street guy, you so dope or whatever, and this happened on several occasions, that's why I'm explaining it like this, now your whole credibility is gone because you got whooped by a gay dude. Now you getting robbed and all this and that because don't nobody respect you now. But you know, as people from other neighborhoods heard, you got whooped by this gay guy. But this gay guy, he's about his business, man. You run up on him, he's gonna whoop your ass, man. You know what I'm saying? So there is a thing as real as real street gay guys, man. But you know, a lot of people don't see it that way, and I guess it depends on if you ever saw something in your neighborhood. It's probably not as popular, and then a lot of them are probably in the closet as well. You know, a lot of them, you know, they understand that if they come out, things can probably change for them. I don't know.
I just, as amusing as some of the Diddy stuff is, and it is amusing, but it's like at the end of the day, like somebody engaging in gay or lesbian sex is just simply not a problem.
Yeah.
It's like, who really cares? I mean, we have to understand that, you know, people from, you know, all walks of life, all socioeconomic environments, you know, street guys, professional guys, church guys, they have gay sex. Like, it happens. It's not the end of the world. If, you know, the only thing with sex that's bad, genuinely, is when it's forced upon somebody that doesn't want it. And that's, you know, that's a sexual assault or a rape. So, you know, if some street guy enjoys having gay sex, like, more power to him.
Yeah.
Just, you know, just don't, like, you know, rape people to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's it. And so I don't know, like, you know, yeah, like we have these conversations. And to me, like the Diddy stuff, if like half of the music industry wants to be bisexual or whatever, it's really not my concern. If where the Diddy stuff gets weird is if you're like, you know, getting people drunk or high or whatever, and then making them do this where they're not necessarily making a conscious decision to do that.
Yeah.
And if you're putting people in compromising positions, whether it's gay, lesbian, or heterosexual sex, you're recording it and you're using that to establish some sort of leverage over somebody.
Yeah.
Those aren't cool. That's not acceptable. And to the extent that somebody's doing that, whether it's Diddy or somebody else, you know, go to hell with that. Get whatever you deserve. But if these guys are having parties and people just want to bang whoever, whenever, more power to them, man.
Exactly. All righty here. I fully agree with that as well. All right. Now let's move on here. Our editor actually sent me this story along with a couple others here. So, that we already talked about. So a pastor here who was facing...
Time out. Anytime a story gets to the pastor, you know some fucked up shit's about to come down. You can just tell. A pastor. And oh, yeah, here we go. Carry on.
He's facing 11 felony charges for sexual assault and child abuse. Has gotten a plea deal to drop everything down to one misdemeanor. Him and his wife sexually abused a teen. Where exactly is the justice part of our justice system is what one lady wrote on Twitter. All right. His name is Bobby Cornelius Smith. Bobby Smith.
All right. Well, what's the story as to why, like, the charges are getting reduced so dramatically?
It would have to be somewhat around like the lack of evidence.
You would think. I mean, is there's a lack of evidence? Is there a lack of cooperation among the victim or other witnesses? You know, as bad as that is, that becomes a reality of the justice system. You know, people need to be willing to testify and participate in this, to provide evidence for a lot of criminal matters to get, you know, what we would consider a just result. And if people are scared to participate, if they're intimidated from participating, then justice loses. Yeah. And if that's what's going on here, that's, you know, that's pretty crappy. But you don't feel comfortable with it because if somebody's accused or charged with multiple crimes and they have their day in court and they win and they get exonerated, you can kind of accept that and say, okay, you know, maybe he won this. But when somebody, like, when you're still getting stuck with a charge, it's like, you know, stink on shit. There's something there that's not right. But we might not be able to prove the whole of it, but there's, you know, we can't let you go either.
Exactly.
And so that it does give you a very uneasy feeling. I mean, that story alone is unsettling because of the why.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on here that you know. And there is a significant issue when you talk about sex crimes in particular, the cooperation of victims. Because, you know, some would consider like, okay, you go through the ordeal of being abused, and then to have to testify about it in first a deposition and second potentially in court, it's almost like being assaulted all over again in some ways. And that, you know, that's a legitimate issue in the prosecution of these types of crimes. And, you know, it is an issue that, you know, that is very personal to the victim. But yeah, this story alone, it's unsettling. It feels like justice might not be being done, but we have an imperfect and flawed system for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I'm reading some of the story now, and, you know, his wife is still standing behind him saying that this is all, you know, a lie and stuff that's made up. And then he has this, you know, one boy that's, because this pastor, he was a youth pastor is what I'm reading here as well. And so, you know, of course, youth pastor, you're always around kids, you know, whatever the case may be. And then, you know, he had one kid to step up and say, you know, he's never seen anything either. But then, you know, there's the reports of the other kids who step forward. And I think a part of the thing is their names and, you know, whatever stuff hasn't been released. They don't want to be, you know, out in the public or made public or testify and things like that. So
Yeah.
That's a part of the problem.
Is there any suggestion of the age of the kids when these events took place?
So, and then also he said he started out volunteering at after-school programs outside of the church. But the first one was a girl, and they said that she was, let me see. So you got the one kid was 16, and then and then you have one is an adult female survivor. Sexual assaulted her multiple times between 2014 and 2018 when she was a minor. That's all it says, when she was a minor. So it doesn't say her exact age.
Right.
So that was the first one. So you have 16, and then you have one that they didn't release the age on her. So you know, then it's still ongoing. He was released on bond. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there's some smoke and most likely some fire, and that's why he's getting hit with something, but there's probably just not enough juice to get him to the electric chair, quite literally. You know, but you look, as I said, the wife is standing behind him, like, you know, what if she's got it wrong? Like, at some point, I mean, maybe she knows already and she's in denial, or maybe she's in denial and doesn't know yet. But if she gets that wrong, like, that's going to be a tough one. You know, at some point in your life, you realize, I enabled this guy to abuse children.
Yeah.
You know, I was a big reason why he's not in jail now.
Yeah. What if he gets out
and does something again?
And does it again.
Does something again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely. And I mean, the history of those type of criminals, the sexual predators, they don't get better. They don't rehab.
Yeah.
Like, if that's their inclination to do, they're going to continue to do. And, you know, it's just going to be a matter of time, access, opportunity before it happens again.
Now, to be fair, on the flip side, what if he is really innocent? Can that church allow him to come back? You know, his name is already sullied.
Yeah.
You know, it's been ran through the mud.
That's definitely a tough situation for the church. They wouldn't have a whole lot of incentive to keep that type of, hey, it's better we part ways.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. So, yeah, you know, if he's completely innocent or you know, whatever. But again, if it's reduced to the lower thing and he's pleading or whatever, he is not being exonerated.
Yeah,
There's still something attached to you that's going to stay with you forever.
That's true.
And so that's the thing. And that's why I kind of started by saying, you know, if a person's accused of something and it's dismissed, or you go have your day in court and you're, you know, not guilty, like, you know, you deserve to be, you know, kind of recognized for that. And again, you may never get made whole from that, because that reputation takes a hit that you'll probably never get back. But, you know, you'd hope that there's some pathway back if you're truly innocent.
Oh, that's for sure. Another trending story here is this lady, the divester Darcy. Just call her Darcy here. She has been indicted on 2 counts of extortion in Arizona. She had 8 chalk. That's just a term I don't even understand, but basically had sex with a white, this baseball player, Trevor, faked a pregnancy.
Is he eating chalk, like having a white guy, like blowing him or something?
I guess so.
Okay.
And
what's the source reporting this article?
this was taken off Twitter.
Oh, okay.
But you know, all of this is real. This guy, you know, he's with the LA Dodgers or whatever. But baseball player Trevor, and she faked the pregnancy and demanded millions for an abortion. He said no, and she falsely accused him of rape. Now she's facing 15 years in prison. Now, the interesting thing about this story is this girl here, which again, Chris here sent all of this to me. She was on, prior to the meeting, she was on this Pop the Balloon show. You ever heard of that? Because
No.
I hadn't heard of it. No. So apparently there's this popular show, I don't know if it's on YouTube or TV, and basically it's like a dating show, and if you don't like the person, you pop the balloon or whatever. And
Okay.
she went viral or whatever because she popped the balloon on this guy, and she was just kind of talking trash about how he dressed and how he was looking and stuff like that. And so then she met this baseball player, and I guess they were dealing and went to doing the nasty. And then she ran this scam, trying to, saying she got pregnant. And I've heard of this type of scheme before, but millions of dollars is that's kind of steep.
Well, yeah, for an abortion, like what the heck? I mean, he can just pay the millions of dollars in child support. Like, what's going on?
Shout out to Trevor here for not being a dummy.
Yeah, for sure.
And
yeah, I mean, this is a horrible story. Like, I mean, it really is, because it's like there are people out there that will do this, but it is comforting that she's potentially facing some jail time for this.
Now, I'm reading extra now. His attorney did say that he did pay her about $10,000 for medical expenses, prenatal vitamins, and car services related to the pregnancy.
Okay.
So he got hooked in a little bit there.
Oh, sure, yeah,
But $10,000 is a lot different than
millions.
Yeah.
It's again, like, what is the justification for millions for an abortion? Like, I'm going to have an abortion, but I need you to give me millions of dollars.
Now, this guy, he's an interesting guy. He's a Cy Young Award winner, so he's a known baseball player who did well in his career. Now, he hasn't played since 2021, 2022.
Okay.
But at that time, a different woman claimed he had sexually assaulted her. Okay.
Oh.
So that kind of ended his career. Okay, so he was suspended by Major League Baseball in 2022 for violating MLB's joint domestic violence case.
Oh, wow. Oh, so that was the end of his baseball. It wasn't because he had gotten old and retired.
No.
Wow.
Now the league did end up reinstating him, but the Dodgers cut him, and pretty much no other team touched him after that.
Okay.
All right. So, he had that happened first, and then he met this lady here. All right. So, she smelled blood in the water, and
well, that's interesting, because if he's a guy that's assaulting women, you're potentially putting yourself in harm's way if this is what this guy's about. If he's a domestic abuser.
Oh, you're saying if you're her?
Yeah, if you're aware that this guy publicly has been accused and suspended in baseball for domestic violence, like, why are you entering his life to do much of anything? I mean, that's a questionable decision. Now, again, apparently he was exonerated, but teams were uncomfortable picking him up. So again, it's, there might have been something there to make people uncomfortable.
I mean, if you're a chick out there and that's your game, you want to scam for money, it's not the worst thing in the world to get knocked up beside the head for a couple times and get a few million
Yeah,
dollars.
but there's plenty of non-violent guys that you could do this to. Like, that's not, like, it's really not, like, I don't get it. And then here's go a little deeper on it. Like, you're getting a guy, I mean, part of the notion, if you're going to, like, play a wealthy guy, is that, you put yourself in a position, whether you're going to fake a pregnancy or do something to blackmail him. His fear of the blackmail is rooted generally on the concern he has for his reputation and good standing in the community.
Yeah.
If you're already a disgraced guy, like, why are you coming at me with this?
Yeah.
Like, say whatever you're going to say. People already think I'm shit. Like, you got the wrong guy. Good luck with your abortion at the clinic.
Yeah.
I'm not paying anything.
Exactly.
Like, it seems like the wrong guy to do that to. Like, if you got some guy like like prime Derek Jeter, and he's kind of this ladies' man, but he's also like captain of the Yankees and likes to kind of maintain a certain public persona, and you're going to run a game like this on him, he'll probably pay and get that quiet.
Yeah.
But if you already get a guy that's been publicly disgraced for violence against women, like, that's not good selections. I don't get that. That's not a good call.
No, not at all. Not at all. All righty here. Now, another thing that we have here coming up, of course, is the NFL draft, man.
Starts tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, man. And what's funny to me is with the NFL draft is every year the quarterbacks steal the headlines and all of that good stuff, and they're trying to convince you and all of these guys are just going to be awesome. And then there's maybe one of them that 1 to 2 max in a draft that turns out to be, a really good pro. And the rest are just awful or whatever, whatever the case may be. Now this year you have Caleb, you have Jaden Daniels of LSU. You have the guy from
Drake May.
You have Drake May, what's that, North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the Michigan
J.J. McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy.
And then you got the two guys that people talked about most of the year in Bo Nix and Michael Penix.
And Bo Nix and Michael Penix.
It feels like their relative stock has diminished.
Yeah, they're going to be
since
next round
the end of the college season.
But they're talking 4 to 5 quarterbacks in the first round. And then you have people who saying, maybe Drake May or J.J. McCarthy should be drafted number 1. And this, and that. And you have a lot of people saying, if it was my pick, I'm taking Jaden McDaniels. And my thing is this. I think it's a better exercise if that's your thing, picking who's going to be the best quarterback out of the draft. I think the better exercise is picking who's going to be the bust out of the draft. Because we know there are going to be multiple quarterback busts in this draft. I'm not a Jaden McDaniels guy.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
LSU.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
I'm saying it like the Timberwolves.
Yeah. I didn't know he made a sports switch.
Yeah.
I'll be unavailable for Game 3 of the series. I've just been drafted by Washington.
He made such an impression on me.
Yeah.
Game 2. But I'm not, man. I think he's the number 1 bust out of the draft. I do not see a scenario, an avenue, where he's an all-pro quarterback. I just don't.
Why?
I've watched a few games. Number 1, the Florida State game just turned me off. That's the number 1 game that turned me off. He's an athletic quarterback, but in NFL he's going to be average to below average on athleticism. As far as those like the Lamars, he's not a Lamar. He's not a Kyler. He's not a Russ in his prime as far as athleticism. He doesn't have that level of athleticism.
He's not a Cam either.
Not a Cam. He's not physical imposing.
Yeah.
And so he's sort of in the middle on that. But when you read his strengths and weaknesses, that's one of his strengths. That's a huge plus for him. Okay. I don't believe that he's going to come into the league and be able to process and read at the time that you're going to be able
required.
That's going to be required. I just don't believe that. You know what I mean? And then thirdly, situation matters a lot, and for a lot of players, you can utilize that as an excuse. But whatever it is, it's still the case. Like a lot of people are saying, New England Patriots, the guy who just left there, the quarterback they drafted
Mac
last
Jones.
year, Mac Jones.
Yeah.
They're saying because whatever, they had 2 defensive coordinators, an offensive coordinator, they have any receivers, you're in New England, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's an excuse, but it is what it is. Like, that can lead to being a draft bust, whatever the case may be. And now he has moved on, and he's a backup quarterback now, and you'll see if he can, you'll see if he'll be able to fight for a starting position. I'll put it that way.
He went to Jacksonville. He's not.
Huh?
He went to Jacksonville. Trevor's entrenched.
So, there it is.
Yeah. No, okay, so I get what you're saying with Jaden. We beat him twice at Florida State, and I was never, like, I put it this way. When somebody's on the other team, do I fear them? Like, when I'm watching my team play, oh, man, this please something happen to this guy. Like, I never felt that. We won both games. And I agree with you. Like, part of his package as a prospect is the athleticism and running ability. But he's a generally athletic guy, but there's nothing electric about his running. Is from a perspective of both pure speed or elusiveness.
Right.
And again, he also seemed to me to be a guy that either ran or threw. He didn't do a lot of play extending with the feet. And that's like a hallmark of some of the really exceptional guys. Is being able to extend plays and make big plays in that. He's a guy that played in a wide open offense with 2 high-level NFL receivers in Neighbors and is it Taylor? The
Yeah, I know
second,
exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
number 11 there. So, yeah, I think there's some fair questions that I don't see a great slam dunk NFL guy there. Drake May is also kind of like a mixed bag prospect for me. He had good numbers, but like that team kind of disappointed in some ways.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, prototypical size.
Yeah.
One of those guys.
An empty suit, as I call it. I do. Like it looks
No,
good
I
on
like
the
that.
rack, but not
Yeah.
out in the streets.
No, I like that.
And then J.J. McCarthy is baffling to me because most of the times I watch Michigan, they played around him. They ran a ton. They played super conservative. And I just find it hard to fathom that there's a high-level talent there. And again, he may have the measurables, and you may love watching him throw a football, but the stuff of like the progressions and the making plays and putting the team on your back when needed, and you didn't see that from him.
But
and to think that okay, well, he's going to step into the league as potentially a top 5 or 10 pick with the expectation that you're that guy in an NFL setting, that seems like really crazy to me.
It does. The reason why I'm warmer on him, because I don't believe he's not going to have to step in and be the guy. I think there's going to be a built-in thing like, okay, we will build a team around. We're going to give him a running game. I think it's going to be an ideal situation, and it's going to look like what it did in college. Whether it'll work or not, I have no idea. But I'm leaning more towards I think it can work with him because they're not going to lean. They're not going to require him to pass and lead them to wins. Yeah, do too much.
But
passing the ball.
But okay, if that's what you're getting, what are you really getting? Because to win, to really contend, you need a bit more.
Maybe.
You do.
No, not really. I mean, because whatever. Tom Brady was not Tom Brady in the beginning, and they won plenty, and he just was not the passer guy. He didn't make Pro Bowls, didn't make all pro teams because they were leaning towards the defense and running the ball, and they won. Now, in today's game, can that work? If you're saying the game has changed, I would buy that.
I'm not okay. So, okay, I get it's wrong to think that Brady was in years 1 through 4 or 5 what we were familiar with years 12 to 20.
Yeah,
I get that.
Different players.
I get that. But even in his Michigan career, he was asked to do more than J.J. McCarthy did.
Yeah.
And and Brady's again, he was not asked to do a lot, but he was asked and responded with poise when he needed to make a drive or a throw. And that was kind of like a hallmark of his early years. He might not dazzle you by throwing 300 yards all over the field, but when those teams needed to get to field goal range late in Super Bowls, even in the early part of his career, he made the plays necessary and did that. My thing with McCarthy is like, if you're closer to what it takes to be an upper tier NFL guy, which is the expectation if you're drafted in the first, 10 spots, like, how were you not like asked to do a bit more at Michigan?
Yeah, we're explaining a later round guy. That's what
Right.
That when you describe his production and his skill set, we're at the very most we're describing a mid-round guy, and that's just not going to be the case.
And the two things that go with like the whole concept of the bust is what you talked about, like where these guys go matters a lot.
It does.
And it's not just the color of the uniform, it's the staff.
Yeah.
And the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, the people that are closest in responsibility to the development of that position are vital to every one of these 5 or 6 guys we've mentioned as potential first, early, second round guys. So you can go to a disaster and have a good career derailed before it begins by not being coached up properly.
Yeah.
So that's a reality. The development of young quarterbacks matters a lot. And then the other side of that, what I was going to say as far as like the bus thing, like a lot of that is somewhat contingent on where exactly you're picked. Now, if you get a guy, let's just hypothetically say, and I'm not convinced by any means that he's going to be a big NFL quarterback, but Jordan Travis is a guy that comes off a bad leg injury. He was not a first-round prospect at the peak of his powers this year. But let's say he goes to somebody in the 4th or 5th round. Like, the expectation, if he wins a starting job at some point in his first 2 or 3 seasons and maybe gets to the playoffs, like, you're going to look at that way differently than you are if that's the resume of one of the guys that go in the top 10 picks in the draft. Like, where you're drafted has an impact on the perception of your success as a player. Because a team taking Caleb Williams at number 1, like, that comes with a lot. Like, he's legitimately supposed to evolve to all-pro level play pretty quickly, and he's supposed to usher in a period of Bears success and contention for playoffs and potentially Super Bowls. Anything short of that, at the number 1 pick, he's going to be felt to be a bust.
He is.
Where guys that are picked later on with this, the perception of that is just going to be a bit different.
No, it is. It is. So I can't wait to see where these guys land. I wish we were doing the show tomorrow or the day after. But no matter where these guys land, you're still gonna have to wait, to see. You have to wait and see how it looks. What can they surround these guys with? Because some of these teams are in severe rebuilds. You have New England, who's up there, and some of these other teams, man, they're in a severe rebuild, so they're gonna need some time anyhow. You know what I mean? We do have some breaking news here.
What do we got?
As far as NBA playoffs, I mean, Miami was able to steal a game in Boston.
Oh, no. So 1-1?
It is 1-1.
Oh.
They were able to win that game. Looks like 111 to 101. Let's see who balled out for them, because I'm really curious. Hero was the leading scorer, 24, but it was a balanced game. Hero had 24 and 14 assists. That's big.
Wow, that's a ton of assists for him.
Bam had 21 and 10 rebounds, and Caleb had 21, Caleb Martin. So, yeah, very balanced. Jaquez had 14. So, good win. Good win from them. Jaylen Brown, balled out for Boston. And
we talked about this, though, the other week. Like, the Celtics have a bit of a propensity to drop games here and there.
Just ran, yeah.
And again, you literally lose home court advantage in a first-round series to the Heat, and the Heat's gotten them a couple times. Like,
they just beat them last year.
Yeah, there's going to be a psychological, weight to carry in this series because of that.
Yeah.
They got them in the bubble.
Yeah, so now Miami flips home court advantage. Now they have home court advantage, just like that, and then this extends the series. So maybe you could see Jimmy. Who knows? I mean, in a sweep, I don't think, if they would have went 3-0, whatever, I don't think you see Jimmy. Now in a game 6, can you see Jimmy? It's probably similar to Greek Freak.
Right, and then just the psychology of it. If this gets to 6 or 7 games, like just the idea of Jimmy maybe being available starts to create a leverage point against the Celtics.
He's the boogeyman.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, that's for sure.
I mean, if you're it's just one of those. If you're a high seed, like, you just absolutely want to take care of business in these early rounds. Like, don't create any doubt.
Don't BS
don't
around.
make any problems for yourself. And the Celtics have done it.
They have done it. It's been a while since I've told a story here, man.
You got one for us?
I think I got one for you.
Love to hear it.
I'm gonna do my best to just speak my mind and not leave anything out here. If that's okay with you.
Yeah. It's always okay with me.
So I talk with you. I've recorded my first episode of the series I'm going to put on TikTok.
Okay.
I've been waiting because I didn't know if I really wanted to put it up or not. But the title of the series is Every Chick I've Ever Smashed. All right.
Nice.
And I'm going to put it out. And so as I'm recording, and I've only done the first episode, but then I'm trying to forecast and say, okay, because I'm going in order.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's the
only
way to do it. I think that's the best way to do it. I mean,
okay.
I think that's the best way to do it because then I can really. Then it's not. It does. Like I said in the intro,
we can track your development as a lover.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a story about a guy just going out smashing a bunch of chicks and fucking just having fun and doing this, doing that. It's a lot of humility to the story. It's ups, it's downs. It's you're gonna be rooting for me, whatever, right? So that really helps that part of the story if I start from the beginning because it really started off slow.
We got to get invested in it.
Right? But I just hope that the slowness doesn't create boredness. That's what
boredom. Yeah.
Boredom.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm creating words here.
Yeah.
So I hope it doesn't create boredom. That's the only thing. Before I start this story, what do you think about that?
I was curious, as you were saying you're going to do this, what I was thinking, are we going to do this chronologically, or are you going to do it in some sort of out of sequence that has some other path of significance? So obviously settled on the chronology. Now, I mean, I watched the entirety of that one chick with the Who the Fuck Did I Marry?
Yeah.
That drove me close to insane because of the way that she told the story. And not so much, I understand if you're going to tell a lengthy story, you are going to have to periodically recap. But I think that there's a tempo that you have to tell the story in for the enjoyment of your listeners.
Okay.
That like the recap has to be concise and clear if you're going to do that. And the story itself has to have a rhythm. It can't have a lot of dead space, useless words, stuff like that, kind of like your comedy. You've got to be tight. You just can't like meander around to this, and you've got to have a sense for like what's pertinent to advance the story. Yeah. And in each encounter, I mean, I would suggest this to you. I mean, especially if you're kind of like telling this essentially autobiographical sort of journey. Yeah. Like each episode has to have like, for lack of a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, why are we like? You don't want to just like, okay, here's the 12th chick I banged. But I'm saying like to make it engaging, there's got to be something, that we're supposed to get out of that episode, that encounter. And you got to be true to that and not drown out with a lot of useless, words and story that doesn't move the story.
No, for sure. No, I got you. I got you.
Good.
So this particular one is gonna come in a little later in that series, and this story actually came from when I was about to move to Atlanta, right? So the mindset that I'm in at this time is I'm very like frustrated. I'm mad because I was working a shit job that I've talked about. I told that story before on the show, and I had just completed my master's degree, So, you know, I applied for, you know, a job, basically a promotion, and I didn't even get an interview for it, right? So I'm pissed at that. I can't find any other job in the area in my master's degree field, right? So I'm very frustrated. And then I have this. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm following.
All right. And then so as while I'm doing that, I have a cousin that's calling me from Atlanta. He's telling me, hey, you need to come to Atlanta. You need to, you know, there's so much, you know, black excellence here. You can come here. You can get your career started, blah, blah, blah. And then, but also I have a girl that I'm talking to, right? And you know, she's a little older. She's older than me, you know, but you know, we're doing good, right?
Gray hair?
No, not that old.
Above or below?
And so my ultimate decision is I just leave, right? And so I told that story. But the story I didn't tell was my time with her, right? And it was a wonderful time. And so at this time, you know, this is the first time I ever had my own place. So I'm in my own place. I'm over in Rosemont. And when I meet her, off this, well, how should I say it? You know, one of those Facebook things, the groups things.
Okay.
I probably said too much just then. But anyway, I said I want to tell the story free. And so when I meet her and we're talking, getting to know each other, the man, probably the best, the wildest sexual experience like I've ever had, even up to this date, because up until
the first time with her? Or?
Yeah, first and every time.
Okay.
So the thing about it is, up until that point, and even and just be completely honest, even at some degree now, but especially up until that point, it was very vanilla for me on the sexual encounter stuff. You're talking about, you know, because I'm in my early to mid 20s at this time, all right? And so you're talking like, you know, girl on top, I'm on top, in front and back, I'm in the bedroom, whatever. You know, not doing it in the car anymore. I'm like, I got my own place now. What do I need?
Elevated from the car.
You know, so it's like
always a big step when you're no longer a car guy.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's vanilla at this time. You know, I'm not doing anything. You know, I'm getting straight to the point. I'm having, you know, doing my thing. I'm having fun. No complaints. What's the point? All right. So then I come across this beautiful soul here, and
how much older was she?
Maybe about not that much older. I'm thinking like 4 years.
Okay.
4 or 5 years,
okay.
something like that. And
you guys were never in high school together at the same time.
Right. So just think about it.
For context,
she could have been a senior and been arrested for messing with me. But anyway,
would it have been worth it for her?
Probably not. So we're getting together, man, and just that everything she's introducing to me is like just nuts to me. Like I would have these little get-togethers at my house. You know what I'm saying? I would have people over and we drinking, we having time. Like we would be on my back porch, and she would be like, "Let's do it right now." And there's people like inside.
Oh, with the guests at the house.
Yeah, like she was that type. Just anywhere, everywhere, anytime, any place. That's what she was, right? So that was the first thing to me. It was like, wow, like I had never experienced or came across anybody like that. And then it was the trying of things, right? She did the what was that? What was it? The watermelon thing? Not watermelon. The grapefruit thing. Like first of all, I had never heard of it, but after she introduced it, I started to see it. Then I seen it on a movie, saw it on a movie or whatever. You know, the grapefruit thing.
On a girls' trip.
Yeah. And that was after this encounter or whatever.
Yeah.
And so so she's doing it. I thought she may
have a writing credit on that movie.
I thought that was like fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I literally thought she was losing her mind. I was like, what do you think? Like, you know, I even think it made sense. And yeah, so, you know, getting the grapefruit thing, doing that, and that was like outrageous, crazy. Now I want her to do that every time. And then
Publix is out of grapefruit, goddammit. This can't be happening to me.
Yeah, man. And just all type of stuff, man. And then, you know, she had Yeah, that part I'm not gonna say. I know I want to be free, but
Just not that free.
yeah, just not that free. But just that entire experience was so crazy because it's so different from what you come across on a daily basis. And that was very important because then you could take that and you just you take that and move it on.
Play it forward.
You know what I mean? Play it forward.
Which begs the question: who was she with before you?
Some guys do well on that.
Yeah.
I don't do well on that. Whatever.
Well, no, it's still a fascinating question.
It
whether you
is.
dwell on it or not.
It is. What did you read this in a book? Did your ex teach you this?
Yeah, exactly.
Or did you get gangbanged and learned all this in one setting?
That's great.
Yeah, and so really, it was a hard decision to move, but it wasn't like because of family. It wasn't because of this awful job I was working. It was because of her.
Damn.
It was like, damn, do I want to move way up here, and then and not experience this again? You know what I'm saying? And but ultimately, yeah, I did move. Now, when I moved back, which was a few years later, that was my first order of business.
Just checking in.
Just checking in.
Back in town. Here's my address.
But I was unsuccessful.
Oh, you didn't get anything back?
Well, there's some things that happened. I believe that she was the stalker.
Oh.
That all those stories came from when I got to Atlanta.
Okay.
And so, whatever. I had been blocked by that time, but I still tried. Then I would try to be at places that I think she would be
She
at.
used to frequent.
Yeah.
It's our favorite pizzeria.
And twice, my homeboy would be like, yeah, she was just here. She was here with a group of guys. I was like, damn.
You want to come back to the crib for the gangbang?
She's back to gangbang. She's back to gangbang.
I gotta get a gang together. Refuse to lose, man. Who wants to be in my gang?
Wants to be in my gang.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, man. But that's that story, man.
So you never actually physically laid eyes on her again?
No, man.
Oh, that's funny.
Never.
But there were 2 close calls where you
Since I've been back. Yeah. Well, I was at the exact place she was at.
Oh.
But I had just missed her.
That's wild.
I had just missed her.
That's wild.
Yeah. And maybe she had heard, Bubba's coming, and then she just let me go. That's a big possibility.
Who would have let her in?
I mean, people would have let her in on that. They knew we used to.
Your friends are here. Hey, buddy, we're waiting for Bubba to get here.
Yeah, they knew we used to
She
date.
overhears her and takes her 6 guys and leaves.
I didn't say 6 guys.
Group of guys. What are you talking? We're talking about a gang. We're not talking about a threesome.
I mean, it's enough for a car, not enough for a minivan.
3 level seats in the SUV, baby. We're good. Just put some dude in the hose pod.
But yeah,
That's awesome, man.
so that's one of the stories I'm thinking about putting in there. That I will put in there because she's a part of the story.
Yeah,
She's a part of
a
the story.
significant part. Where would you be without her, Bubba?
Yeah, man.
Probably still missionary man.
Probably still missionary Bubba. Yeah, man. Probably still missionary Bubba.
Damn. Yeah. Well,
This year, we had this book, with all the different she would try all these different, the different positions. And different
position book.
Yeah, the position book. All
Solid. Did you have to buy it or did she?
She already had it.
She already had it. Jesus, man.
And normally, I'm gonna tell you something.
Seasoned professional.
Yeah. Normally that would not bother me, but it would be in the back of my mind, and then I would only deal with this girl once, or whatever. That would be. But with this, it never entered my mind. Oh, she's a whore, or she's this, or whatever.
But
if
if you're in that space where the sex is really great, and you're getting it, at a level that you want, frequency-wise, why is that your concern?
Yeah, maybe that's why.
You don't have kids with her.
No.
You're not married to her, so it's who cares?
Yeah.
This is an ideal situation.
Yeah, it was.
You traded that for black excellence. Went for the bag.
I went to get the bag, crew, man. What can I say? Me and Dame Lillard, we stay next door to each other.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Trying to get Caitlin Clark to come over
Oh, God.
for a 2-man game bag.
Good luck. It's just a damn threesome. Can we tighten up our terminology here?
We will
Come
next
on.
week.
Words,
we will
words
next week.
matter. Can't just be throwing this stuff around. Oh, it's a 2-man gangbang. Okay. Come on, man. Respect the game.
Yeah, we will respect the game. But that was the story there. Next week we got our guy Terrence coming on. He's a seasoned professional. He's gonna tell us about what was that? What were we talking about here?
Well, he's kind of like I don't know if he'd be like a sex counselor per se, but
Yeah. What was the one type of thing we were gonna talk about? Hold on. He just wrote me earlier today. It was the BDSM. Yeah.
Oh, BDSM.
BDSM. So dom, submissive, all of that stuff with couples or not with couples, and slaves, pets, daddies, owners,
All that.
sex field, all of that stuff that
Okay.
we're gonna be talking about next week from a professional.
And we can accommodate a live studio audience if you're into that.
Yeah, if you're into it, man.
Yeah, and which you should be.
Bring your equipment.
Bring your equipment.
We'll make sure the Stallion's cameraman is here.
He would be offended. He's not available. That fat fucker's not around. Get him out of here.
Oh, man. All right. OKC is up 13. We'll see how that series goes as well. All right. We'll catch you guys next week.